let's go to Jett.
Jett.
Luchanko, speed as advertised. He's not small.
No.
He's a big guy.
Yeah. He's about average NHL size, but he's strong.
Yes, very.
He's got strength. He's got strength.
The way he held up in battles and stuff.
Yeah.
Like for a dude who is basically, would be starting his senior year of high school.
Like, yeah, he just turned 18. Turned 18 in August.
Yeah, like pretty impressive stuff for him, I thought. Not maybe Mitkov, but we never, Mitchkov's a pro already.
There were times
he was right with him.
Insignificant amount of people in my mentions, especially on Friday, probably through the first two periods. The third period was when Mitkov really became Mitkov.
Yes.
He was every single shift, he was doing crazy stuff. And I think that chatter died down a bit after the third. Through the first two periods, I had a lot of people I mentioned saying Luchanko looks better than Mitkov. I think Mitkov was the best player of the weekend. But Luchanko pops, and he's always going to pop because of the skate.
Yes.
And if you are someone, we talked about this last week, if you are someone who is purely going by the eye test of like, who made me jump out of my seat the most, the guy who's the fastest skater is going to do that exponentially more than pretty much everybody else, because fast skating is very noticeable.
You see it. Like, that guy's behind him now.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. But like for people who have been dying for this team, like going back to freaking Alexander Daig when we were children, Charlie.
Right.
Like, can we please just get faster? All we are is muckers and grinders, and we're trying to forecheck. Can we just win a race?
Yeah, all 6'4" centers that can't skate.
Like, you know what Jett Luchanko is going to do? Win a lot of races.
Oh, he
is going to be a. We compared him a little bit, I think, to Voracek like a week ago.
Did you? I would.
I feel
he doesn't have the size.
Just the ability to create zone entries. I feel like we talked about.
I think he could be a zone entry machine if he develops his instincts a little bit more. Because sometimes he takes bad routes, and you saw that occasionally. Yeah. Sometimes he fumbled the puck away, got knocked away from him. There were moments. The reason why I very much contend that you can't argue that Luchanko was better than Mitkov is because Mitkov probably, if he had 50 puck touches, he did the right thing on 45 of them. Whereas Luchanko did the right thing on 30.
There was, at this point, clearly nowhere near the offensive or just puck decision instincts of Matvei Mitkov, but like that's why people think Matvei Mitkov was
going to win the Calder.
Was closer to 1 than he was to 3, in terms of guys who should have been drafted if you were just going on pure talent in his draft year.
Yeah.
I was impressed though I was happy that the hands thing. Like, all right, he doesn't have stone hands.
No, he definitely doesn't.
He doesn't. Okay,
no, absolutely.
That was just one of those things that came out of dev camp. Like, oh man, he loses the puck a lot, and like he
did lose the puck a lot.
He did have some fumbles,
but he also did a lot of things with the puck too.
He also it wasn't just that.
And I think that's the conundrum with Jett Luchanko. And this is something I noticed dating back to my draft research before the Flyers took him. Is that it's not that he can't make plays with the puck. He does sometimes. Is that he doesn't do it consistently. And the Flyers in him see a guy who will start doing it consistently, give him a couple more years, and he's going to, instead of making the correct pass, the really good pass, 3 times out of 10, he's going to make it 7 times out of 10, and then suddenly he's a top 6, if not top line caliber center. Yeah. That's what they think. Other people watch him, and they're like, yeah, speed's great, strength, he's got the instincts, he plays a smart game, but the puck skills are spotty. And in this game, they were spotty, but when he does the right thing, he really does the right thing.
And that's because of that inconsistency. Like, you watch him play, and I think this is a conversation that you've had, and we'll have it plenty as main camp begins and we see a little bit more Jett Luchanko. I think he could hold his own in the NHL. Like, not be a top 6 player.
I don't disagree with you, actually.
I think he could hold his own as a bottom-of-the-lineup guy. But I've said a lot of times with guys like Luke Schenn, I think there was more there, and they told him just do that thing you're good at, and then he did that thing he was good at and never did anything else. Now, it eventually worked out for Sean Couturier, Like
I think it probably took longer than it would have otherwise.
Because Sean, it was like, man, just check.
Yeah.
Just check and you'll be all right, Sean. And it took him till he was
like 25.
Yeah, like 25. And he started it like 2 months before he turned 19.
Yeah.
You know? And it was, I think that's the conundrum with like, yeah, maybe it would be fun if he made the team, got the 9-game trial. But for his overall development, as much as, yeah, man, I want the new shiny toy and I want him to make the team because we got to do, 82 plus preseason post games probably. Like, I want to do this stuff. But I think it might actually make sense for him to do that dominate your level thing.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think that he could, if you wanted him to, he could hold his own as a third line checking center who does, because he was great. I thought 5-on-5, he was mostly good, made some mistakes, did a lot of good things. I thought on the penalty kill, he was incredible.
Yes.
Like, he could be a really good penalty killer in the NHL right now, I think. I think the speed, the physicality, the willingness to mix it up, the defensive instincts, he could be a good penalty killer in the NHL right now. And if the Flyers were a Stanley Cup contending team right now, I would be like, get him on this team. Let him be Ryan McLeod for you, and let him get 12 minutes a night, play a role, and over time, hopefully, he'll grow into being a bigger offensive threat. Flyers are nowhere near a Stanley Cup team, and because of that, I would rather him go down to the OHL, where there's way more space, and he can foster the creative parts of his game. Because I don't want him to just top out as Ryan McLeod, as a good third line center. I want him to top out as a really good top 6 center. And if best case scenario, he ends up being a 1C, that's the dream. I don't know if he has that ceiling, but I want to give him every opportunity to try to foster his creativity and his puck skills to get to that point. And if he doesn't, I don't want to think 6 years down the road that, man, if they wouldn't have rushed him to the NHL, who knows what Jett Luchanko would have become. I don't think there is any incentive really to rush him to the NHL. And I thought Brent Flair on Sunday put a lot of cold water on that idea. I straight up asked him, and I went into that press conference. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to get Brent Flair on Sunday. I wanted to ask him about this Jett Luchanko thing. Is there a chance he gets the 9-game tryout? And he basically said, look, can't rule anything out. I want him to be pushing for it because I want him to be motivated this camp. But it's a big stretch to think he's making this team this year. I can't see a scenario where he makes this team, even for the 9-game audition. I just don't see it. I know that was chatter on Twitter, and I get it.
Yeah,
he's an exciting
it's
player.
fun.
He's an exciting player, and he looked good, especially on Friday, especially with Mitkov. He looked good. But I don't think this is his time yet.
I think it's one of the, like you said, if they were Stanley Cup contender, it's one of those what's best for him, not what's best for a year in which, the president of the team is like, if we make the playoffs, cool, but that's not what matters.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We all silly like the mayor.